Hi, and welcome to this new episode in which you're going to learn how to craft your own vocal exercises so that you can actually have a more beneficial practice. So let's dive into this. Hi, and welcome to this new episode. I am so excited that you're here because today we're actually going to look at how you can craft your own vocal exercises so that it's really crafted for your own vocal needs. And this is a conversation that started within the Singing Insiders, which is our membership for passionate singers wanting to become a better singer. And one question that someone asked was, what are exercises that I can do that are really tailored to my own voice and to my own needs? And this sparked this amazing conversation regarding how can you actually craft a vocal exercise depending on what you need within your singing journey. So say, for example, your voice has difficulty singing high notes. What are some exercises that are really tailored to your specific voice? And this is what sparked the inspiration for today's episode, because this is a really important topic. This gives you all the power, because many beginner singers, what they tend to do is go online and look for vocal exercises, and then they just sing them without really knowing why they're singing a specific exercise. So they're thinking of, I'm training my voice, I'm doing the work, I'm singing the exercises, but they don't know what the intention behind the exercise is and how this exercise is actually going to help them move forward. So after today, you're going to have all the power. Also, many beginner singers, they don't know if they're actually doing it right. And that's why in the Singing Insiders, we have so much importance regarding asking for feedback and getting feedback from our coaches so that you actually know whether you're doing it right or not. So that being said, that's what beginner singers tend to do. What trained singers tend to do, and that's where I want to get you, is, understand why you're singing specific things and whether you're actually doing it right. And if you don't do it right, if it doesn't feel good, trained singers tend to know how to fix it or tend to ask for help in order to fix it. So that's the importance of what we're going to be doing today. And as you know, we always operate from the four main pillars of the Sing Yourself to Freedom formula. We have mindset, we have vocal technique, creativity, and connection. Today, we're really diving deeper into the world of vocal technique, obviously. So there are 4 steps to crafting your exercise. And we're going to go through those 4 steps together. I'm going to also give you an example of one exercise that I crafted using this process and framework. Okay, step number 1 is really simple. Step number 1 is actually having a clear vision. Like, what do you want to achieve with this exercise? Do you want to train your mixed voice? Do you want to train your head voice? Do you want to sing high notes? Do you want to be able to sing low notes? Do you want to have more stability in your sound? Do you want to have a more sharp sound? Like, what do you actually want to achieve? It seems simple, but oftentimes it's something, or it's a step that is missed because we think we need to do something, but we don't really know if that's what we want to do. So what is it that you want to achieve? What is the vision for this exercise? What is the intention behind it? That is step number 1. So in our example, my intention is to craft an exercise that trains your mixed voice. That's the intention that we're going with. That brings us to step number 2, which is choosing the interval of our exercise. So what is an interval? If you're not musical, if you don't play any piano, that's okay. Obviously that would make it easier for you, but that's okay. You don't need to. So the interval basically is the distance between one note and another. And an interval can be big. For example, if I'm going from this note to this note, we have a big space in between. One is way lower than the other. Or we can have a small space in between. For example, going from this note to that note, which is a way smaller interval. And so we want to, depending on what our outcome is, we want to determine what is the interval going to be. Do I want it to be very big, or do I want it to be very small, or something in between? So my thought process, step 1, I want to train mixed voice. Now I know in order to train mixed voice, I need to combine the chest voice muscle and the head voice muscle. So whatever exercise I'm crafting, those two muscles need to be active. And I know this might be hard to like know intuitively. This is something that you learn. And in the Singing Insiders, that's exactly what the core curriculum is all about. Giving you all that knowledge, giving you all those tools so that you can be that independent singer, so that you don't have to depend on someone else. Anyway, that being said, I know for mixed voice, I need to activate my chest and I need to activate my head voice. So for this exercise, I chose to go for an interval of a fifth. So if you don't know what a fifth is, that's totally okay. I'm not going to dive deep into the music theory of things. But you could basically choose for a third. You can go into a fifth. If you know your chords, you could go into an octave. I personally chose a fifth because that gives me a wide enough range to activate both chest and head voice. If I would only go for an octave, for example, I might go into head voice but miss the mixed register. Or if I would go for a smaller interval, I might not be able to activate that register either. So it's really looking for that sweet spot. And I know this second step might be difficult, and that's okay. This is a pretty advanced topic, but at least you know what to do. Now we need to figure out how to get there. So step 1, have a vision. Step 2 is creating that interval, like how big do I want the range to be? Step 3 is choosing specific consonant and vowels that will help you get to your outcome. Let me give you an example. Some vowels will activate specific parts of your voices easily or more easy. So for example, an oo vowel will make it easier for me personally to go into head voice. Yoo-hoo! If I would do the same on an ah, yeah, I mean, it works because I've trained my head voice. But for many singers, that might be harder than the oo. So an oo vowels tends to make it easier to activate the head voice, while an ah vowel, ma, tends to make it easier to activate the chest voice. Again, I know this from experience. So this is also something that you need to learn. You need to develop this skill of crafting your own vocal exercises. You need to know a little bit about singing. And that's what you learn, obviously. This is a skill that you can learn. So I know the ah will activate my chest voice and the oo will activate my head voice. So that's the vowels that I chose. Now you can choose what will be my consonant. Like how will I start the exercise? And there's different options there as well. You can use consonant that use airflow. So for example, v or zh. Those are all basically SOVT consonants. And again, I'm not gonna dive deeper into that because that's a whole other world. But basically you have air flowing, okay? And you need to have your voice active in order to sing that particular consonant. Another example might be the consonant b or p, a b or a p. In order to actually say those consonants, there's kind of this air buildup and then it like pluffs. It like explodes, right? And it's an explosive consonant. So I could do boo. It's going to be very different than voo, for example, in my exercise. Because with the v, Voo, I already have airflow going, so it might help to have less tension there. With the boo, because I'm building up, it might help with chord closure. So again, this is all knowledge that you gather by going through this singing development. So for mixed voice, that was our outcome. I chose to have no consonant, and that's also an option. You could say, I'm just gonna start with ah, which is a glottal onset. Ah. You could also say, I'm going to start with a v, because it helps me get onto that note from a place of relaxation. Va could be. So I chose to have no consonant there and just a straight glottal onset. The reason behind that is because I wanted to have the vocal cords coming together, and a glottal onset will do that for you. So my exercise so far looks like this. Ah, ooh. I got my ah, I got my ooh, I got my fifth in there. So I got my 3 steps so far. I got my vision, I know what interval I'm using, and I know what consonants or vowels that I'm using. The 4th step is looking at, okay, where in my range do I put this exercise? That's the 4th and final step. So I could put this exercise, ah, ooh, ah, that's the exercise I crafted. So I started in chest voice, I'm switching to head voice, and I'm going back to chest voice. That will help develop the mixed voice because it activates my 2 vocal muscles. If I put that here, ah, ooh, ah, it's not as efficient because I'm staying in chest voice. Or if I put it here, ah, ooh, ah, it's not efficient either because I'm staying in head voice. So I really need to find the sweet spot of where can I activate the chest and the head voice. And that's where I found this part. And then you can go higher and lower. So that is the 4th step. Where in your range are you putting that vocal exercise? Where is it the most beneficial? And it could be that it's everywhere in your range, or it could be that it's a specific part of your range and your voice that you want to be training. So those are the 4 steps. Step 1, have a clear vision. Step 2, what interval do you want to use, big or small? Step 3, what are the vowels and the consonants that you can associate to get to your outcome? Step 4, where am I placing this exercise in my range? And I know to craft these 4 steps, you need to have a little bit of vocal technique knowledge. That's normal. This is more advanced. This is not easy. And that's okay. The fact that you're finding this difficult tells me that you're learning, which is great. And you need to have knowledge, you need to have experience to go through this process. So my biggest invitation to you would be to start building up that knowledge. And so in a few days, I'm actually hosting a free training that really is going to dive deeper into vocal technique, specifically the mixed voice technique to sing high notes easily. And that training is totally free. You can register using the link in the description down below. So that's my invitation to you to get started and to start building up that base of knowledge and experience when singing so that you can go through this process and actually craft these vocal exercises. So let me know how this was for you. Let me know in the comments. Let's inspire each other. I do want to say a big thank you for having been here, for giving this process a chance, because I know it is difficult. So I'm glad you stayed till the end. Well done. And thank you for spending time together. I'll see you here again next week. Bye.